This is the program that shows you the side of police chase videos they didn't want you to see. Bungled arrests, kamikaze crooks and cop-based carnage of all kinds. Welcome to Cops Uncut, the real car crash TV. Coming up on Cops Uncut. This hit-and-run homeboy leads the cops up a garden path. This Sunday driver gets distracted. And this Christmas cop doesn't hear the sleigh bells until it's too late.
Taking off again.
This driver made the elementary mistake of neglecting to have any number plates on his car. But when police in Alabama attempted to inform him of the oversight, he tried to run one of them over. This made them angry enough to shoot out his rear window, although not quite angry enough to continue their pursuit across state lines. So he now has an excellent view of the Florida patrol car that's chasing him down. What he doesn't appear to have is a particularly good view of the road ahead.
Okay, he's fighting.
So he goes ploughing straight through a spike strip the cops have thrown in front of him. The pursuing officer has his prey in his sights and vows to force him off the road.
He's coming into town. Let me see if I can spin him out.
Which shouldn't be too difficult now that the spike strip has done its job.
He's got two flat tires.
With two of the suspects' tires blown out, this high-speed chase has become a low-speed chase. But for some reason, the Florida cops are being unduly considerate as one of their patrol cars moves politely aside to let the suspect through. Perhaps it's because it was an Alabama cop who nearly got run down, but the Florida Police Department seemed to have gone all soft. They're just biding their time and pootling along behind the suspect, who must think it's his lucky day, particularly when all they've got to throw at him is this rather pathetic attempt at a roadblock, which he breezes through without a care in the world. Finally, the officer in pursuit decides to give the suspect a nudge. And straight away he's sliding all over the road. At last, all of this police time and manpower is beginning to get some results. One more tentative shunt and we're heading for a rather dusty detour through the forecourt of a local gas station. The cops are now warming to the task of putting as many dents as they can in the back of the suspect's car. And after a slalom race around a petrol tanker and a telegraph pole, he tries his hand at a spot of gardening. He eventually weaves his way back to safety, but it must feel like he's still off-road, with smoke billowing from behind the car as his tyres disintegrate and his wheel rims scrape along the tarmac. Travelling at such a sedate pace and with so much police protection, this chase is beginning to look like a presidential motorcade. In the end, the suspect surrenders meekly, veering onto a grassy knoll and immediately putting his hands in the air. Although the cops don't exactly return the compliment and are practically clambering over each other to get their hands on him. This long-distance lawbreaker was willing to cross anything to get away from the cops, from state lines to front lawns. But in the end, he was dragged kicking and screaming straight back into a police cell. Still to come in part 1. How to really mess up an officer's weekend. And place your bets as Jimmy jostles with the cops. Drunk Test Dummies. This good old boy from Alabama did not pass go, nor did he collect $200.
Well, you got all the beer and beer cans and all in here.
I keep them beer cans, you know.
Where are you going?
Going over
You're in Opelika, sir. You're in the county jail inside the fence.
But he was considerate enough to go straight to jail, or the parking lot to be precise, having found the cops on his tail.
Do you have a driver's license, sir? That's not a driver's license.
A receipt from the off-license, perhaps?
Come on, get out of the car and stand right here for me just a minute.
Along with beer cans, this hopped-up hillbilly has spent the past few years building up an impressive collection of charges for driving under the influence. Although on this particular evening, he could be forgiven for thinking that he's bumped into Right Said Fred on their way to a fancy dress party. These two follically challenged officers are taking almost as much interest in the contents of his trousers as they are in his blood alcohol levels.
How much you had to drink tonight, sir?
about 2 or 3 beers.
About 2 or 3?
Yeah.
Hoorah. 2 or 3 beers. You can't smoke a cigarette. Give me a cigarette. There you go. We're going to have what kind of help you need.
I need to get home.
Okay, well.
I leave my car. Y'all take me home.
Now he's hoping they'll provide him with a chauffeur-driven service all the way to his front door.
What am I doing on a car?
What are you going to do with your car? I don't know, but you can't drive it into the jail.
Time to check just how many beers have been consumed during the course of the evening.
Well, probably about 5 missing. Is that about how many you had?
Well, not exactly. 5 is the point at which he lost count, and the real figure is probably a lot higher.
Accumulate them, you know.
Accumulate them?
Yeah.
In one last desperate attempt to appear sober, the suspect drops the word accumulate into the conversation. But these cops aren't fooled.
We're going to do a couple field sobriety tests on you, okay?
Oh dear. They've even decided to inflict a field sobriety test on the poor man.
Now just hold your foot up like that
Hold that left or right foot up.
and count.
The first part of which he manages to turn into a dance routine of his own invention.
Hold it up. Hold it up. Yeah, there you go.
1, 2.
Okay, let's try another test.
Obviously impressed with the way this suspect can bust a move, it's time for something a little more challenging.
I want you to start, I want you to take 9 steps, and I'm going to get you to turn around and come back 9 steps. I want you to do heel to toe. Watch me now. Can you see? I want you to walk just like this.
In fact, this test appears to be strictly for the cops' own amusement, and one of them even heads back to the patrol car to adjust the video camera, so that we can see just how paralytically drunk this suspect really is. All of which leads to a charge that has to be one of the least surprising in police history.
Right, this time I'll place you under arrest for drinking and driving. Okay? Yes, sir.
It's a quiet winter's morning in the suburbs. The sun is out, the sky is blue, and there's a sprinkling of snow on the ground. What could be more pleasant for our neighborhood cop than a leisurely Sunday drive? But appearances can be deceptive as danger lurks round every corner. And good visibility alone isn't quite enough to ensure that other road users pay attention to where the hell they're going. It's enough to make a policeman take the Lord's name in vain.
Jesus Christ.
This driver was so busy wondering at the beauty of God's creation that he strayed from the path of righteousness and directly into that of an oncoming cruiser.
Jesus Christ.
In Wiley, Texas, this patrol car has been called in to assist at a dispute between a mother and daughter in a not altogether salubrious part of town. As negotiations continue in the mother's house, officers keep the daughter at a safe distance on the road outside. But it's her boyfriend in the maroon-coloured car in front to whom they ought to be paying more attention. What you can't quite hear on this video is that he's been busy insulting the cops from his vantage point in the back seat. In fact, he's positively itching to get involved.
You need to stop. And they should have done it.
Can step up the units.
As the daughter tries to get her side of the story across, her boyfriend is waiting for his moment to pounce. And as soon as the cops come near him, he's finally got the chance to put all of those years spent watching WWF to good use.
Get back.
At the same time, the cops are putting into practice their own years of training and experience to roll around on the floor in an undignified heap. Matters aren't exactly helped by the daughter, who manages to bring new meaning to the word hysterical.
I'm not letting him go.
It may have taken a while, but the cops finally get the boyfriend handcuffed and under control, which is perhaps more than can be said for his girlfriend.
You got a fucking guy up and listen to bullshit we did?
Should have stayed in the car.
I was trying to make a fucking phone call, man. You fucking grabbed me.
Despite having enough tattoos to put a Hell's Angel to shame, the boyfriend displays a touching side to his character.
I don't want him in my truck yet.
I love you.
Although he has a rather less sentimental message for the cops who've just busted him.
Fuck you.
You join us in the leafy suburbs. It's been a quiet morning and this particular traffic cop is looking forward to a relaxing lunch break. What's that he hears in the distance, though? Could it be the sound of police sirens? Perhaps if he just parks here in the middle of the road, they won't notice him, and he'll be able to sneak off for a burger and fries after all. As an undercover car and cruiser speed past, he takes a painfully long time deciding whether or not to assist. So why all the palaver? Well, someone has had the temerity to spoil everyone's day by robbing a drugstore, and is currently being chased down by half of the local police department. If you look carefully, you'll see the man in question driving a red sedan up ahead. With his fellow officers twiddling their thumbs, our hero has a plan. He mounts the central reservation to face in the opposite direction. He knows this town like the back of his hand, and after a crafty cut-through, he's made his way to the front of the chase. Tragically, he then goes and spoils all of his hard work by singularly failing to halt the suspect's vehicle. And having blown his chances of being a hero, he's now a long way from the action. As the chase continues along the back streets, the other officers must be frantically reprogramming their sat-navs in an effort to work out where on earth they are. But they somehow manage to stay on the suspect's tail, and it looks like the chase is going to come to a satisfactory conclusion at the next junction. This slippery customer makes the cops look rather foolish by simply driving off. Things are beginning to look as busy as an evening at the Dodgems as patrol cars take it in turns preparing the red sedan for the scrapyard. At last, the Keystone cops have a suspect worthy of their rather limited pursuit skills, and once they've regrouped, it's not long before he becomes the filling in a cop car sandwich. Officers converge from all sides on foot, and their prolonged struggle to restrain the suspect is even less elegant than the chase that preceded it. All in all, this has been an object lesson in how to use the maximum amount of resources to the minimum effect. And on top of that, our hero will now have to head back to the station and complete the paperwork, thus postponing his lunch even further.
Taking off again.
Still to come in part 2. This nutter fails to use his head, and this motorist mistakes his car for a toboggan. Pay attention for our next lesson, because police work can get pretty dull in Alaska. There isn't much to deal with here apart from the occasional stray moose, so it's always tempting to conjure something up just to pass the time. But when you pull over a suspect, you should always make sure that you've got a decent enough excuse. If not, you might find yourself with a fight on your hands, as mild-mannered Officer Conley discovers, to his cost.
Your patient's reason to stop you for misusing your horn. How did I misuse my horn? Okay. Want me to explain it to you, or are you going to explain it to me? Just misuse his horn? Absolutely, he did. So are you going to chase him down? When I'm done, I'll argue with you.
This irate driver has a point, but that doesn't mean that Conley should be such a pushover.
Unless an emergency. I say you to that as well as not using a seatbelt. I'm not going to accept the tickets. Okay.
He's in uniform, he's carrying a gun, and he's got the full force of the law behind him. But when it comes to the crunch, Conley is one cowardly copper, as this guy is only too keen to point out. You have been warned. Stop someone for something as trivial as misusing their horn, and in return they could end up misusing their language. Class dismissed.
Taking off again.
Now we're on board with the highway patrol in Wiley, Texas, who have been told to keep their eyes peeled for a black pickup, which is reported to have been driving erratically. Approaching a set of lights, they eventually find their man in a queue of cars waiting to turn left, and at first sight, you wouldn't think there was anything suspicious about him at all. The cops creep up behind the pickup for a closer look. But almost as soon as he notices a patrol car over his shoulder, the driver is herring off into the distance with a sudden burst of speed. As the old police saying goes, this guy must be guilty of something, so they take off in pursuit. To say that the suspect is driving erratically would be something of an understatement, as he appears to be hallucinating and weaves his way back and forth across a 3-lane highway, swerving to avoid obstacles which only he can see. He makes just as much of a meal of this meandering back road, nearly giving himself the opportunity on several occasions to test out the off-road capabilities of the truck. Having bumped over a level crossing, he decides to take a breather at the next junction. The cops don't seem to be in a hurry to move in for an arrest. And after waiting for a few seconds, it would appear that the suspect has either fallen asleep or decided to put his vehicle in reverse in order to ram the patrol car very slowly indeed. Maybe this guy never even saw the cops in the first place. Because, as it turns out, in a spirit of misguided generosity, he's leading them all the way back to his home. His mobile home, to be precise.
Wow, step out of the vehicle.
Now, in case you're wondering, this section of the clip is not in slow motion. It's just that getting out of his truck seems to take a positively superhuman effort on the part of our man.
Driver, step out of the vehicle with your hands up.
Perhaps calling him trailer trash would be a little harsh, as he's just plain trashed.
Let me see your hands. Let me see your hands. Backwards toward me.
The officer asks the guy to show his hands, but it's doubtful that he can even see them himself.
On your knees.
Not having understood a simple instruction to kneel down, one of the officers gives him a helpful reminder before putting on the cuffs. Once under arrest, and almost certainly not under his own steam, the suspect is then bundled into the back of the cruiser, where he tries to give the plexiglass divider the old Glaswegian handshake. And misses. He then launches into an impassioned but completely incomprehensible tirade, which we can only suppose is being addressed to his own reflection. Maybe this is trailer park speak, for please forgive me, I made the mistake of driving under the influence. I apologize and promise never to do it again. But the officer isn't listening, so just for good measure, he tries to headbutt the plexiglass again. With only marginally more success. When he wakes up in the morning, it's going to be difficult to tell why his head hurts. From the shouting, the headbutting, or the massive hangover he's going to have.
Taking off again.
And finally, spare a thought for Trooper Jonathan Ferris, who inadvertently became the poster boy for a campaign promoting the new Move Over law in Minnesota. In a vivid demonstration of what can happen when the law is disobeyed, Ferris has just stopped to investigate a rear-ender when a passing motorist decides to indulge in a rather over-enthusiastic bout of rubbernecking. Ferris is currently recovering from concussion and several broken bones, and despite appearances to the contrary, no one else was hurt in the accident. The driver of the car has plenty of time to get over his embarrassment in jail.
There you go.
So what have we learned today on Cops Uncut? Alcohol can seriously hamper your ability to pass an exam. Plenty of tattoos are no match for plenty of cops. And getting arrested can be a real headache. Be careful out there.